Hello, everyone and no one. Today, I'm going to be looking at something a friend sent me that I already kind of told him about. And um, it's one of those things where a person tries to bring a whole thing of, they got points, they think, but they really don't. So since it's about a little over 3.5 minutes long, I'm going to have to go through it. And let's do this.
Long-held prejudices should be re-examined through the eyes of wisdom. The position America has taken on Master Shredder is one of the issues that should be re-examined. Master Shredder started his life in martial arts. He challenged Master Splinter to control the dojo. He lost. He did not sulk. He did not seek revenge. He instead thought,
Boom, right there, off the bat, he's wrong. Now, he's going to interlace going back and forth between the original first live action movie and the 1987 series. And he didn't just move to America. Because of when this was, it was actually, to make it more family friendly, the traditional thing for having Oroku Saki and Hamato Yoshi go through their opposition is to have Ten Sheng, if memory serves me correctly, and I'm probably butchering her name, be the love interest of the two of them. And Ten Sheng always chooses Hamato Yoshi and that whole thing. And almost every other single one, she convinces him to leave. It's like, at least that's how it is in the original movie. And a later one, it's a little different in that whole thing. But to change it for American audiences, especially to be more child-friendly, they removed the love interest and the murder. And what it was yes, Hamato Yoshi did beat Oroku Saki. And to get back at him, he used a knife to pin his clothes to the wall. So when their master came in, he was unable to bow, which is obviously very disrespectful. And then when he pulled the knife off, so he was able to bow, it was then seen as that he might have been trying to assassinate their master. So he had to leave. Because it prevented him from kneeling for his honorable sin. So it was seen as an insult. So he was exiled from his clan. So this whole thing of, Oroku Saki just leaving is absolute bullshit. And this is just another instance of someone wanting to say, well, we should relook at a villain in this whole thing. So let's continue on with already complete horseshit.
he'd move to America and start a new life. But the America he found was not that shining city on the hill that Reagan spoke about, but it was 1980s New York, the height of the crack epidemic. Shredder may have tried to find traditional work, but there's not a lot of work for an immigrant whose only training is the way of the ninja.
Again, completely wrong for what he was going with. Now, I have to go through and relook at the whole thing. Yeah, because again, the whole reason why Shredder goes to America is pretty much the same reason in most of the things. Whenever it involves a human Hamato Yoshi and a human Shredder, because there's been some ones where Shredder is like the 2003 cartoon where Hamato Oroku Saki is not human. He followed Hamato Yoshi because even though he had greatly dishonored him, gotten him exiled, he didn't feel it was justified enough. So he went to go after him further. And it's just, I don't understand how this dude is this wrong. I mean, exactly what this is basically, what if bad guy is not bad guy? And frankly, I'm really getting sick of this. Now, I can understand making a variation of a villain to where they are a bit more sympathetic. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm only 32 seconds through this video. This isn't one of them. You're trying to change the history of someone whose history is already fucking known. I mean, it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's Shredder. He's meant to be evil. Stop trying to make evil characters sympathetic or good. Sometimes you just need a bad guy who's a bad guy. Let's fucking continue this horse shit.
Especially a ninja who's covered in knives. But he saw injustice. America's drug policy and the economic crisis on the streets of New York. Boys without fathers.
I am your father.
Again, Now, now that I've actually sat here and think about it, I kind of feel like a dick because I think this thing was meant to be more of a parody or satire on there. But they keep doing that whole thing to where they're going back and forth, or he's going back and forth too much between the live action now and the cartoon. Because in the cartoon, he doesn't. He has robots. The Foot Clan or the Foot Ninjas that he uses are robots. It's the reason why the Turtles are able to use their weapons, because that way they're not killing people, they're destroying robots. But I mean, even in the live action, he chases after Hamato Yoshi and Tang Shin, kills Tang Shin, ends up killing Hamato Yoshi, gets scarred by Splinter the rodent, and things go from there. So it's the whole thing of just, now that I've had a whole day to basically go over this, I'm still irritated. But I'm thinking that this is either really good satire or this dude is a fucking idiot. Let's go further.
In the racially tense streets of New York, he created the Foot Clan and welcomed boys of all backgrounds.
He didn't create the Foot Clan in New York. The Foot Clan was originally created in Japan. For fuck's sake, dude. Now, like, again, I can only go to, this is either a great parody or like satire. I'd honestly say more parody than anything. Or it's just trying to troll people, so it'd be a Poe, I guess. But this is like someone cursory looked over the Wikipedia page of this. Not even like the fandom wiki. But like just the regular Wikipedia, picked out keywords or like a couple sentences and then just made the rest up from there. Let's fucking go further.
Provided them discipline, training, a way of life away from the streets. They never touched guns. It was strict, sure, but remember where Shredder came from. A rural, traditional Japanese background.
Which, if you follow the whole thing of like ninjas and the samurai and everything, while it's debated ad nauseum by most people, predominantly fucking weebs, that like the samurai wouldn't have used guns, the samurai loved using guns, and ninjas used what they could, so if they could get a hold of guns, guns would work as well. This shit is so full of shit, and it's just irritating me so much. And now I just want to think it's a Poe. Let's go on.
They steal? Yes. That's not great. But the gaping lack of opportunity in those neighborhoods did not provide a lot of options, and Shredder stole mainly only Japanese electronics. Master Splinter could have stayed in Japan and enjoyed running the dojo that he had won.
False. As I explained earlier, he got fucking exiled. And again, you're using too much of the live action and the cartoon. Most of what you're going off is based upon the cartoon, because the live action, Splinter was a rat mutated to human, not a human mutated with more towards rat. For fuck's sake, like, this has got to be a Poe. And now I don't even know if I want to finish this, but I got this far. Let's fucking keep going. Oh, this is irritating.
Instead, he had to go all the way across the world to twist the blade in his enemy. They say you grow into the face you deserve, and he did. He became a rat. He's given so much credit for raising the turtles, but he used those boys. He raised them in a sewer. They're reptiles. They can't regulate their own body temperature, yet he never let them see the sun.
Okay, that would be true for regular reptiles, but you also have to remember that because they fucking mutated and the closest thing they were to was human, they have more humanoid characteristics, and we don't know in this fucking world or universe if more human characteristics didn't blend over, considering the fact that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doesn't just do science fiction, they also hit the supernatural. Just, oh god. Like, I understand I'm not the biggest fan of all things TMNT, but like, this is kicking straight into my fucking childhood and just irritates me to no end. I haven't watched the 1987 cartoon in a long time just because It's lost a lot of its it's become more lackluster to me, and it's just not as fun. I still do love the first live action movie. Um, I think the second movie is a little too overhyped or overblown, and that the third movie of the live action is not near as bad, and that the TMNT CG sequel, I can't remember when that was made, that had Sir Patrick Stewart in it, is actually a really good follow-on to make a four-part movie series. And then the Michael Bay produced ones, while William Fichtner did an amazing job, and so did a few others in the acting of that. That movie was just god awful. I refused to watch the second. I don't know if I could bring myself to. All right. So we're going to go on to more of his bullshit, to where he's trying to use too much of our world and the similarities, forgetting the fact of, basically fucking gene splicing going on here. Dumbass.
He taught them discipline? Hardly. Those boys ate pizza 3 meals a day. Turtles should eat primarily leafy greens. He never gave them greens. He would simply watch as they would non-stop sexually harass April O'Neil. He would never say a word. He taught them discipline. He only taught them violence. April O'Neil wasn't innocent either.
Again, it's been a long time since I've read or watched the 1987 cartoon, but they really did not sexually harass her. And I mean, it's that whole thing that it was a different time, because it was the late 80s, early 90s when this cartoon was going on. It was episodic or it was episodic entirely. There was rarely anything that had an actual subjective storyline, because they didn't go in that route. And just, oh god, his takes are just so off and so wrong, that because they made an attractive character and had, I would still consider her, even in this day and age, an attractive woman play April O'Neil in the live action, that just all of a sudden that, all this was done so she could be in the news and this and that, or that she would, tease them and whatnot. Just, it was a fucking Saturday morning cartoon show for the kids. These things aren't always meant to make sense. It's supposed to have a suspension of disbelief. I mean, yes, if you want to get into like the original comic, it was exponentially darker, and it was supposed to be kind of a mirror of Daredevil, considering the fact that, Splinter is a like satirical version of, I think it's Daredevil's master, like the hands, or I believe it was one of the Daredevil's masters, stick. Their enemies, the Foot, is kind of a satire of the organization in Daredevil called the Hand. Oh, let's continue on with this idiot.
She teased those young, lonely teenage boys so she could get a weekly scoop and continue to push her false Foot Clan media agenda. The media is meant to be objective. She was far from it.
Well, if you're going to go with the live action movie, she did try to find the Foot, because a lot of the stuff was happening in Chinatown. And the police were saying that the Foot didn't exist. That it was just a bunch of thug kids and teenagers and whatnot, being stupid and stealing shit they wasn't supposed to. And for Splinter and the TV show, or not Splinter, Shredder in the TV show, the Foot was predominantly him, Krang, a couple of mutants like Bebop and Rocksteady, and then a bunch of Foot Ninja robots. Just fuck. He's so far fucking off. And when I first watched this, it just infuriated me so, because it just seemed to do that whole thing of like, what if bad guy, not bad guy? What if bad guy actually good guy? He's not. He's a bad person. He's always been a bad person. That's how he was fucking written. That's how he was fucking imagined. Stop trying to take people who are villains and make them sympathetic. Dear fucking Christ. Let's continue.
She never once attempted to interview anyone from the Foot Clan or Master Shredder. Splinter just used those boys for his vendetta against the Shredder, who was trying to better the community. This
fucking what, mate? Trying to better his community? Are you that daft? Are you that dense? Like, I keep praying that this is a Poe now. Because getting the chance to sit here and rewatch this, oh, dear God. I'm 2 minutes into this, and it's a 15-minute video already. Like, what the actual fuck? And I'm trying to... Actually, I don't even care anymore. I'm not even trying not to swear. Like, yes, I understand this is supposed to be set in 1980s New York when the crack epidemic was big. Racial tensions were dang near as bad as they are today. Probably not actually near as bad. In some cases better, some cases worse. Sorry. But just, for fuck's sake, the vendetta was not Splinter's against Shredder. The vendetta was Shredder against Splinter. And if you don't understand that... No, click on this one. Scroll. Here. You're fucking an idiot. Read the goddamn source material or watch one of the fucking cartoons. Jesus! Back to it.
This was 1980s New York. Could Splinter have gone after crack dealers, pimps, corrupt bankers, Wall Street fat cats? No. He took his horny malnutrition turtles and he beat up guys stealing radios from Radio Shack. He used violence to protect corporate interests in a time...
Again, other than the original comic and the first actual movie that was meant to be darker, the TV show was aimed at young children. To go through and say that they should have been going at crack dealers, pimps, fat cats on Wall Street isn't the proper thing for a Saturday morning cartoon. You know, it's, oh God, what's that term that so many people have used for these types of things? Oh yeah, age appropriate. But for some odd reason, you just can't get that through your thick fucking skull. God. Age appropriate. Back to the video.
When the poor were suffering. The Foot Clan were stealing TVs. That is true. But these were 1980s TVs. They weighed as much as a refrigerator. Stealing a TV in the 1980s took 4 people.
Depending on the size of the TV. You also have to remember that the fucking live action movie came out more closer to the 90s when TVs were a bit smaller and a bit lighter. They were starting to develop that actual technology. For fuck's sake, dude. You are so off on this shit that it is completely fucking ridiculous. Ah, God, just... You keep trying to blend two things that aren't the same. You keep going through and trying to claim someone is not a villain who, if you actually go through and read the source material, you know is a villain. Like, I can take Maleficent not truly being a villain in Sleeping Beauty, and I will get to that later. But this shit is unacceptable. Maleficent... shit. Shredder is a villain. Krang is a villain. Stop trying to make people who aren't good people out to be the good guy. Just please, for the love of whatever you find holy, stop. I'm having fun doing that. Leave me alone.
These boys were learning teamwork, communication, employable skills. Do you think Splinter really cared about clock radios? How did Donatello get his technology?
The same way they imply it in the TV show and the movies. It's not that the fact that they went out and stole it like you're trying to imply. Oh, the turtles weren't good. They were thieves as well. I know he's going to bring up the whole, like, how'd they pay for it? Suspension of disbelief on their fucking food. How'd they get the hardware? for everything. It's called salvaging from the garbage, you fucking idiot.
They had a TV. They had video games. They had takeout 3 meals a day. None of them have jobs. Where was that money coming from? April O'Neil never cared to ask those questions, and either did America. Shredder did not get rich. He wore the same clothing every single day, a suit made of knives.
Because it was a Saturday morning cartoon. For fuck's sake, look at so many other cartoons besides a superhero one, and how often it seems that their main characters never changed clothes. The cast of Scooby-Doo is iconic because of that. Like Richie Rich is very similar for that. It's an iconic thing to have the characters basically wearing the same thing because it makes drawing it exponentially easier. Oh, excuse me. Just, Jesus, let's go on.
But never cut anyone. He chose stainless steel as the most sustainable clothing. He found the only cave in New York and lived there.
Okay, again, you wanted to blend too much of the live action, the cartoon. And you have to remember, from what I've been seeing, rereading of some things, he found Krang before he went back to the States, or before he went to the States. So that's the reason why he did that. So, again, you're blatantly wrong, and you're trying to pull the whole thing of like, I got points because this person's this person. Again, Shredder is a Saturday morning cartoon villain. They are meant to be inept from the get-go. But in the game, or in the live action and whatnot, Shredder has hurt and killed people. It's only in the 1987 one that he is not responsible for the death of someone. That's it. That's fucking it. Because at that time frame, they didn't want to have, it wasn't considered age appropriate. But now, most of the time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is marketed towards about your preteens to teenagers who have at least a little bit better understanding. This was originally marketed towards 8-year-olds. You dumb fuck. Holy shit.
Sure, later in life he moved into an interdimensional technodrome. But in meeting a warlord from another dimension, did he use that power to take over the planet? No.
Because he got stopped because of his own ineptitude and Krang's ineptitude. Just, oh, dear Lord. Why am I doing this to myself and making a video out of this? Oh God, I should not have done this. Oh, I should have done the bullet thing. God damn it. Well, we're almost done. Let's try this. Continue.
He just focused Crane's energy on the turtles. Imagine Master Splinter had befriended Crane. Shredder is owed an apology. He became a monster. But I think we made him that monster. And Master Splinter deserves what's coming to him. He was the Joe Jackson of martial arts.
Okay, that's the actual end of it because it goes into the blip thing for the damn TikTok, and I don't feel like showing any more of this from Facebook. Just, oh, for the love of God. People, please, if you're going to make something on this, please, for the love of everything you find holy, do more than a cursory look into the fucking thing. Just, I can't fucking stand it anymore. The shit like this. We always have to go and, what if bad guy, not bad guy? Bad guy only had bad because other man or because of a man. Like I brought up Maleficent. With Maleficent, everyone wants to bring, or it's like they brought up the video, or the movie that Angelina Jolie was in. And what caused her to be evil and everything was because the king stole her fey powers. Why does it have to be that? Why does it always have to be some goddamn thing of, you know, the person who they weren't supposed to be. I mean, if you follow the actual fucking shit for Sleeping Beauty, like I said, Maleficent isn't necessarily a villain. Now she is kind of evil and implied to be somewhat evil. And the funny thing is the only reason she curses Aurora isn't because of what the king and queen did. It's because of the fucking three fairies. For fuck's sake, they go and like, why are you here? And she says flat out, I was invited. Well, no one wanted you to be here. Well, in that era of when that would have been done, someone as well known and powerful as Maleficent, not to be invited by royalty to a gathering such as that would have been considered very improper and disrespectful. So they had to invite her. But I mean, it's like the same thing they did with Thanos. We see the end of the Avengers movie now, the first Avengers movie. Cutscene comes up, the end, and the one guy tells him, he's like, fighting the Avengers is like fighting death. And he leans forwards and smiles. Why? Because the Mad Titan wants to date death. The Mad Titan wants to have a relationship with death. Because in the Marvel Universe, death actually has a personification. But instead, they had to bitch him down to, oh no, there's not enough resources in the universe, so we need to get rid of the population by half. Fuck you. Let the Mad Titan be the Mad Titan. Let villains be villains. Stop trying to take every goddamn villain that was straight up fucking evil and make them sympathetic. Just for fuck's sake. The Splinter is a good character. Shredder is evil. Period. And I would still, even though I haven't watched it in years, I would highly recommend going and watching the 1987 series. It's a good thing. I still love the first live action. Like I said, I think the second one is second live action movie, Secrets of the Ooze, is a little overhyped, but well, I do respect, oh God, I'm forgetting his name. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's not Jesus Christ. But the guy who helped make the suits for the first one, and they brightened him up for the second one, he got super butthurt because he thought this was supposed to be a more family-friendly thing. And that's why they, in the second movie, they weren't allowed to use their weapons while fighting. Jesus Christ, that's going to bother me. Jim something or other. Son of a bitch. Why can I not remember this? Oh, this is going to drive me nuts. He did the Muppets. But yeah, just for the love of everything, let villains be villains. Not everyone has to have some sympathetic reason of why they're doing something. Have a good one. Holy fuck, I can't believe I just did a 30-minute, damn near 30-minute video with most of me doing this to emphasize anything other than talking. Thanks for watching. Jesus fuck. Fuck. Yes, let villains be villains. Bye.